Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Police Act, Cap. 19 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2014 and 4 Repeal and Act Bill SB 682 was sponsored by distinguished Senator Bala Ibn Inalla from Kebbi South. The bill was read for the first time and the Senate on Tuesday, 10th day of July 2018, debated on the general principles of the bill, and thereafter was read the second time, and it was referred to the Senate Committee on Police Affairs through an order of reference dated 11th day of July 2018 to report back its recommendation. Objectives of the bill. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the bill seeks to, among other things, provide for a police force that is more responsible and responsive to the needs of the general public and has entrenched its operation the values of fairness, justice, equity, accountability, cooperating and partnering with the communities it serves, and also to uphold and safeguard the fundamental rights of every person and respect the dignity of persons. The bill is necessitated by the fact that laws that governs the operation of the Nigerian police force has seen no comprehensive review since its initial promulgation in 1943. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I wish to skip item 3, 4, and 5 and move straight to 6.0 because of the importance of the contributions of stakeholders during the public hearing, and also because of the very importance of this bill as it regards national security. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is opposite to state here that the preponderance of opinion of all stakeholders who made both written and oral presentation at the public hearing commended the intendment of the bill and expressed their total support for its passage into law by the National Assembly. The stakeholders are also unanimous that the effort of the Senate in bringing up this bill is not only timely, but also desirable. Here is a glimpse of a few of these opinions expressed by stakeholders. Number one, the first has to do with the name of the force, the Nigerian Police Force, which is proposed to be changed to Nigeria Police. The name, the Nigeria Police Force, is the name given by the Nigerian Constitution. And therefore, deleting the word force could be termed as unconstitutional act and cannot stand except and until that constitutional provision is amended. Two, opinions were divided on the provisions of draft bill in section 7.3 regarding the appointment of Inspector General of Police by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, subject to the confirmation of the Senate, ditto for removal of the Inspector General of Police. Thirdly, the stakeholders were unanimous in support of the provision in section 7.6 regarding the tenure of office of Inspector General of Police to hold office for a single term of 5 years, subject to the statutory retirement requirement in the public service. This will be in tandem with what operates in some security agencies, such as the EFCC, ICPC, and the Police Service Commission, which in turn will stabilize the office of the Inspector General of Police and enable him to set out his strategic operational plans for a given period. And fourthly, another provision in the draft bill that enjoyed unanimity during the public hearing is Section 60, that deals with the establishment of community police forum. It was argued that it is difficult to police people without their consent, that the introduction of the forum is not only in line with the federal government policy on policing, but it will make the job of policing very efficient, effective, and of international best practice. It will give opportunity to the police and the public acting in partnership together for the security and progress of the nation. And fifthly, the position of the draft bill proposes the reduction of existing 7 Deputy Inspector General of Police to just 1 was vehemently opposed by a majority of the stakeholders, noting that the present arrangement of having 7 Deputy Inspector General of Police reduces the workload of the Inspector General of Police, and that to reduce the number of Deputy Inspector General of Police to 1 will be retrogressive. Observation, Mr. President. Having exhaustively and painstakingly analyzed the presentations made by stakeholders during the public hearing vis-à-vis our comments on some clauses of the bill, we hereby, as a committee, observe and find as follows. 1, that from the views expressed and canvassed by stakeholders during the public hearing, it can be deduced that stakeholders and the general public were in full support of the passage of the bill, with reservation in some of the provisions in the draft bill. Secondly, that the legislative intent behind the introduction of the bill by the Senate is laudable and commendable, as it is aimed at repositioning the police force in the performance of its constitutional functions of protecting lives and property. And thirdly, that opinions were divided on the provisions of the bill that seeks for the confirmation of the Senate for the appointment and the removal of Inspector General of Police. Some were in support, while others were against, as usual. Fourthly, that there was unanimity in the issue of tenure of office of 5 years for the Inspector General of Police. And fifthly, that the provision in the draft bill in respect of the establishment of community police forum is a welcome development. Now, to the recommendations of the committee. The Committee on Police Affairs, which was referred the bill for an act of repeal of Police Act laws of the Federation of Nigeria, having considered same, hereby recommends as follows. 1, that it should be made binding on the Inspector General of Police to adhere to policing plans. The national policing plan should be made with inputs from police force headquarters and all various police formations nationwide before the end of each financial year, setting out priorities, objectives, cost implications, expected outcomes of policing for the next succeeding financial year in order to change budgeting from top-down approach to bottom-up approach. Secondly, that the name Nigeria Police proposed in the draft bill should be changed to Nigeria Police Force as presently in use in view of the failed constitutional alteration attempt to amend the name. Thirdly, that the police abide and enforce certain constitutional provisions, particularly fundamental rights of persons in police custody under Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and other international instruments of human rights to which Nigeria is a signatory, including provisions that reiterates the importance of fundamental human rights and advocating for their observance. And fourthly, that on the appointment and removal of Inspector General of Police, the provisions of the Constitution in line with Section 215 of the 1999 Constitution as amended should be studied, as any proposal contrary to this provision may require constitutional alteration for it to be viable. That the establishment of community police forum is strongly recommended. That the tenure of office of Inspector General of Police should be single year or 4 term, which will make for a secured tenure. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this is a very important bill coming to us at this time, and I urge our colleagues to look at it passionately. On behalf of the committee, I thank Mr. President and the colleagues for giving us this opportunity to carry out this assignment. I thank you, Mr. President.
To commend my colleague who has presented this bill for consideration, Senator Kaura. And in doing this, I need to mention the recent killings by SARS, which have been reported, have been given enough attention by Nigerians all over our media. Given that the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, rose to the occasion, went to Lagos, and did read the riot acts, challenging the powers that be, that is the area commanders and DPOs, that any further extrajudicial killings will amount to taking them into proper accountability in terms of ensuring that they suffer the consequences. I want to say that this may not be enough. The riot acts can never be enough. We have to look at what this bill stands for, and then see whether the contents of the bill address issues like the welfare and the environment within which our police can be changed to what is expected. We need to adopt that intervention window. I remember that years back, we used to have the Police Trust Fund, which is a seed fund gathered. The funds will be coming in through individuals, corporate bodies. I will liken it to what we have like Lagos State Trust Fund, which is like a fund that you can dip into to assist this organization. I must commend the crop of officers that we have now. Their condition is so bad, we all know that. But some of them, out of the fact that they cannot take care of themselves, they have to go into areas of getting what they want or even venting their anger on innocent citizens. Of recent in Lagos, about 4 killings between January to April, we have witnessed through these extrajudicial killings. Young boys, Colade Johnson happens to be the recent one. And earlier on, you have another Ada Ifeanyi, a young 20-year-old girl, killed innocently. I believe that if we look at the welfare aspect of our police, and thanking the present administration that has increased minimum wage to 30,000, what I have gathered is that eventually the take-home pay of an average policeman will be nearing something to 85 to 88,000. You ask yourself, is that enough? There are so many other things that are attached to it. Now, when we go to the stations, do they have enough in terms of logistics? Are they given running costs to take care of, the fueling, the maintenance of the vehicles, even buying stationaries? So what do you see? You find them frustrated going out, establishing roadblocks, collecting money, ostensibly to settle their superiors. That is what we read. And when you don't now look at all these things, which form the foundation of the problems that they have in the streets, we run into this. I haven't said this, Mr. President. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to hear my view and to say that we should look at the area of police trust fund as an intervention window. Thank you very much.
That day before yesterday, you were chairman at a dinner for the inauguration of the incoming members of the Ninth Senate, and you vividly remember what the comment of UK government is all about this bill. And UK government is of the opinion that this bill is one of the most important bill of the 8th Assembly. So I want to put that on record, sir, to show that we have put a lot of industry into what we have done, and I know that it is in the overall interest of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir.
I think it's not reform the police, as I said, since it's been promulgated since 1943. It has not done a review. We still know what the ideal, where we should go ideally, but until we get there, at least let us address how to reform the police. If there are no other comments, Leader of the Senate.
Worked with the police and police reform commissions and security committees when I was in the public service. So the issue of tenure of office of the Inspector General of Police is very important. I think this distinguished House should look at this issue very, very critically and practically. Now, we want to run away from a system, I think that is page 15. Is it there? Oh, it's the deputy. It's 9. The tenure. The tenure, I think they limited it to 4 years. Clause 7. Yes, sir. Regarding the tenure of office. We have, from our experience, sir, we want to run away from the situation where the Inspector General of Police has to retire after reaching the normal civil service retirement period after reaching 60 years. That one is a good one, because what it does is that you may not be Inspector General of Police until after you probably have just about 1 or 2 years to go. Which means you just serve for 1 or 2 years, and before you even sit on the seat to do anything, your retirement time has come. I think we should run away from that. But when we come to the issue of tenure of office, I think the tenure should be extended to a period of, say, about 5 years. And once you are made the Inspector General of Police and appointed and confirmed by the Senate, that 5 years should be exclusive of your retirement date of 60 years, so that you will be elevated above the civil service. You can have one term of 5 years stretch, so that you can plan and do whatever. No, it's not a question of 4 years by the renewable. What we want is to separate the retirement date. Say somebody now has 2 years to retire. He's made Inspector General of Police. By the time he reaches the retirement date, it's just about 2 years to go. Those remaining 4 years will be a nullity, Mr. President. So it's better to make it very clear in the bill that once you are appointed, that term of office should be non-negotiable, irrespective of the retirement date that you have, statutory retirement date. irrespective of the statutory retirement date.
Yeah.
Deputy Leader.
You create the office of the Inspector General of Police as we did in this bill, and you make it a statutory appointment. It means the existence of that office is statutory. So whether he reaches retirement age or not, he already has an office which he occupies for a specified period of time. And in this case, 5 years.
Last 2 years or 1 year or 6 months, the moment he is appointed, that appointment is sacrosanct as far as the tenure is concerned. Exactly. He can only be removed as provided by the provision of the law. Exactly. I think we need to remove all ambiguity on this. Thank you.
Item B, serve for a single tenure of 5 years, irrespective of his age of retirement or date of retirement.
No, notwithstanding.
Or withstanding date of retirement. Notwithstanding date of retirement, of his retirement. Yeah.
Within the public service, it is 4 years renewable for another term of 4 years. If you want to give a single term, usually it is 5 years. And the present practice for most of the organizations now is one single term of 5 years. So I think we need to achieve some consistency.
Exactly.
Question that says 71B as amended, that is, serve for a single tenure of 5 years, notwithstanding date of retirement, stands part of the bill. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Okay, page 54. Either excessive use of force or indiscriminate use. How are the citizens protected? And how does this reform guide to ensure that officers, maintain the highest level of standards to go extra effort to protect people's lives while they are discharging their duties? I think that's a great concern that I'm sure a lot of Nigerians want to know today, that what are we doing in that. So in the situations that we see, for example, some of the recent incidents we see where, somebody has died due to supposed excessive use of force, what does this bill do to address those kind of situations? Thank you.
It is possible that you commit that kind of issue and go free. But the present structure makes accountability synchronous for the implementation of this bill. So if you commit any offense, depending on, I don't know how to describe it, but those who serve in the police know that the entire country is sectorized based on what the police call beats. And these beats are the responsibility of specified assigned police officers. So whatever happens within that bill, an orderly room trial will be taken by the police. Disciplinary measure will not be taken if it contravenes a provision of the law and it requires trial. The bill seeks to ensure that that trial is carried out by the Nigerian police.
Disciplinary mechanism, and if found guilty, shall be recommended for dismissal and charged to court for prosecution in accordance with the relevant laws in force. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. 98, 2, 3, and 4. Those in favor that stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 98, 100, 101, 102,
discrimination against whatever, but there's no any force that made him to go against that. There's no any mechanism on that. And if you looked at again on the desertment, it said a police officer shall not be convicted as a deserter or an attempting to desert unless the court is satisfied. Must it go to the court first when you have the military, the police mechanism on ground if you are a deserter? That's what I'm saying.
I think we need to
put a provision that prohibits a policeman from using his firearm recklessly and without reasonable cause, so that it becomes a punishable offense. No, that one is bodily, if in the course of his discharging, he engages in bodily contact without use of firearm. This one specifies firearm. That one is just the one we
No, we said we.
How do you define excessive force and violence? Doesn't that? Okay, make amendment now. Correction. What is your suggestion?
where he uses excessive force or recklessly and without reasonable cause
Or reckless with his arm.
discharges his firearm. Yeah, I'm talking about firearm now because we don't want cases of accidental discharge. Accidental discharge. It doesn't capture firearm.
No, we should read that one.
Yes, I'm reading this along
In
with the
conjunction-
other,
in
in conjunction with
with
that one,
the initial.
by including the use of firearm. So I'm proposing, the amendment suggested by, which we adopted was where he uses excessive force. So I'm saying
And
after
reckless with
excessive
his
force
arm. Reckless with
and
his
recklessly with his firearm.
Or with his arm.
Yes. Or recklessly with his firearm.
Yes.
Causes harm or injury.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Deputy Leader.
No, sir. It's good you know, sir. In the police system, there is what is referred to as Musketry Force Order 231. That Musketry Force Order describes how arms and ammunition should be used in the police force. So anything outside that order is deemed to have been done recklessly, sir. So that, yes, sir. So there is no need for that, sir. He knows better that recklessness is one form of menstrual. There is rashness. And that's why, sir, intention is a fundamental aspect as far as determining a criminal offense. So what I'm saying is that we already have in existence in the police what is referred to as Musketry Force Order 231. That force order prescribes how police are supposed to use the arms given to them, and that anything outside that order is deemed to have been done not in accordance with the prescribed list, and therefore makes the police officer liable.
And whatever this is the ground, whatever that is not on this, as far as police order is concerned, you can dismiss it. And you lawyers know when you go to court to order, to argue. What I think Lidani is saying is in conjunction with amendment by Sabi, just put in between reckless use of arm. And in cause of that, you cause body injury or death. Because we know what is happening in this country. Because if you leave it fluid like that, a lawyer can go and argue. Tell us now, you're a lawyer. A technique is when you use things different from the way it's supposed to be used. You are reckless with it. And it's not, that's why we want to put it in the law. So that you interpret it.
I think there are two issues here. Is whether we should put it explicitly, or if we believe the word that we've used, excessive force and violence, covers it. I think that's really where we are now. Do we think it covers it?
Also, deals with the issue of accidental discharge. So once we say reckless and excessive use of force, reckless and excessive use of force, excessive use of force, it covers accidental discharge on all these other issues. Eh? Okay, we can add it. Reckless and excessive use of force.
To our citizens outside. In all the cases that we have witnessed, the story is usually that of somebody, a police officer, doing something that is outside that code that distinguished Senator Allah is talking about. And at the end of the day, a life is lost. So what is important is we are trying to make sure the reform we are going to bring must address these issues, because these issues have happened so much more than whatever the laws are saying. And we must bring it in and situate it properly in the language we understand, because this law is supposed to serve us. We are not supposed to be serving the law. So to me, I think if putting excessive, reckless and excessive, I think we serve the purpose. Let's put it, because recklessness is a situation where, for example, distinguished colleagues, I was listening to one officer who was shown on one of the media, and he's saying, remember what you are taught. You are not supposed to cock in public. And he was saying that, remember, we are told it's better you allow a criminal to escape than to lose the life of a citizen. So I think they know the truth. And as such, let's use the right word to qualify it. This is Nigeria, and I think the language you understand is what we need to apply as far as the law is concerned. So to my mind, those who are saying recklessness, please, let's include it and let us not excessively debate, because the life of our citizens is more important than this word.
When we go back to that amendment, if you recollect, we are saying that any police officer who employs excessive force, violence, or any other act leading to death or serious bodily harm, surely that has covered. How would the person die without discharge of? I think we have covered it. Yeah, it's that was the amendment we did. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. Yes, Antodino. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, saying who knowingly abhors or entertains directly, if we look at that, sir, that, no, I said page 125, 98, 2. The committee's recommendation, a person who knowingly abhors or entertains, is talking about intoxication, liquor, and all that. And that act can lead to death. But if you see the last paragraph, it's talking about a fine of 20,000 for an act that can lead to death. Because a man who takes liquor or psychotropic substances can also discharge ammunitions. And that act can lead to death. And we are now prescribing a punishment of 20,000 or imprisonment of 3 terms. It is not commensurate to the life of yeah.
I think what we're supposed to do, like 2 years imprisonment.
I think we need to increase both the imprisonment and the fine. For somebody to do something that will lead to death, and you are asking him to go for 3 months or just 20,000 naira, he will pay in the court. He will pay the 20,000 and walk away. There is difference between committing an offense and then giving rise to situation where you can commit the offense. What that provision seeks to do is to discourage such acts by police officers, knowing fully well. Listen. Wait now, if you listen, is to discourage those acts by the conduct of police officers, because we know it will lead to them. But there is equally a provision that where you violate those acts now and now go to commit that offense, you will equally be appropriately punished. So this is the difference. Mr. There is no how in a society. There is no how in listening. there is no how in police, there is what we call rules for keeping beat duties. And in those rules, these things are spelled out. And because they are spelled out, it means police must be encouraged to observe those rules. And that's why that provision is inserted. It is different from engaging in the act that consequentially lead to that. You know, sir,
what do we lose? Why, if you say it's to discourage, how does 20,000, why, yes, there are other punishments, agreed, let's leave that aside. How does 20,000 naira and 3 months be a form of discouragement?
The use of the amount 20,000, police officer. Wait. Wait.
Thank you.
Inducement. They are completely different things because this one is an intentional, willful, you are inducing a policeman or a threat. But the other one is somebody who might innocently sell. No, what I'm saying is that their punishment, what I'm saying is that the first one, they knowingly harbors or intends, or either directly or indirectly sells or gives any intoxicating liquor, psychotropic substances or stimulants to a police officer while on duty, or permits a police officer to stay or remain in his house unlawfully, except in case of extreme urgency, commits an offense and is liable on a conviction to a fine of 100,000 or imprisonment for a term of 3 months. That is for A. Then for B, by threats or offer of money, gift, spirits, liquor, psychotropic substances or stimulants, induces or attempts to induce any police officer to commit a breach of his duty as a police officer or to commit any part of or omit any part of the duty, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine of 500,000 or imprisonment of 6 months or both.
It's too high.
Yeah, that's my amendment.
A uniform, and while he's not a police officer, I think we need to look at all these penalties. They are so small, and they will not serve a deterrence. So I move, irrespective of the observation raised by Senator Dino, that such a penalty should be, there should be an addition. I mean, it should be now increased to the tune of 300,000 instead of 20,000 naira. 300,000. And there's one for uniform. And all the penalties, there's one for obstructing the police to perform, his duty. It's 100,000, only 100,000. And there's one, armed robbers currently wear police uniform to rob people. And now we are saying, through this law, through this bill, that once someone is caught, you only pay 300,000 naira. Mr. Chairman, is too small. That should also be increased to about 2 million naira. Armed robber, robbing people with police uniform. You are a kidnapper. If he's caught, it's 102. 103 or so. 103. No, I'm giving general, generic something. 103. So all the penalties are so small, sir.
Right. Now, can we let's make some progress, please? Can we go to 10?
Officer or any other person aiding or assisting the police officer in execution or commit an offense, and he's only charged with 100,000. It's too small, sir. Move. I remove 2 million and 2 years. Very well. 1 million.
2 million is too much. 1 million, sir. 1 million or 2 years and 2 years. 1 million.
Let me put the question. Now, if you have the majority, you will carry. Let me put the question. Let me put the question. Those in favor that clause 100 as amended, that is 1 million naira fine for a term of 2 years or both. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
I will suggest, sir, that we put a minimum and then leave it to the discretion of the court to decide how much he can award. If the gravity of the offense demands that he gives 1 million, he can give it, or even more than that. But if we put a minimum, he cannot go beyond that minimum. So my suggestion is that we put 200,000 minimum, nothing to a fine of not less than 200,000. So he could give 1 billion, he could give 1 million, he could give 500,000, depending on the gravity of the offense. Yes. So, but if you put 1 million, one day 1 million will be like nothing. So do you have to come and amend the law? So, but if you put minimum, my suggestion is to put 200,000 to a fine of not less than 200,000, or to a fine of not less than 200,000. So it makes it minimum and there is no maximum. And on the yes.
Or both.
Let us settle on the Lidani's suggestion and come down a little bit. 200 is okay, because we don't know what will be the consequence of this decision we are taking in the future. And it's it's grievous, because at the end of the day, you have several people getting. Yes, I align myself with the position of Senator Lidani, and let us adopt that as.
I'm putting the question. There was alternative. When I put the question, if you just go there, you can come. Let me put the question. The amendment is that we should have it to read, if commission offense is liable on conviction to a minimum fine of 200,000 or imprisonment for a term of 6 months or both. Those not less than 200,000 and a minimum term of 6 months. Those in favor of this amendment that stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. Nays have it.
The purpose of fine is for it to serve as a deterrent. If fine is too excessive, then it becomes an offense because it's the ability to pay. If you say fine is 1 million and the person cannot pay, which means that our prison will feed up. So that's why the fine it serves as a deterrent. It's not the amount that matters in law. So it's just to serve as a deterrent. So when a fine is too excessive, then the ability to pay becomes zero. So that's why because you cannot pay, then you go to prison. Then in other words, if they not ask somebody to pay 1 million, you cannot pay, then you go to prison. Everybody will go to prison. Where is the prison? The purpose is not to put excessive fines.
This is when we put the question. We have put the question, and at the best judgment of majority is what we've gone by. Yeah, but we have to make progress because we have put the question and we have been guided by the arguments put before. The ruling so far is the earlier ruling which says that a fine of 1 million and a term of 2 years. Your amendment. Okay, Senator Gaya.
Sir, I have, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I have no objection in the fine of 1 million, as suggested by my colleagues, but let's have put it in such a way that if some people cannot afford. So let's say the fine should be not exceeding. Let's put the fine as not exceeding 1 million. Let's put it not exceeding 1 million. So that because if a seller... I have no objection to that, but let me say something.
I have no objection because it's democracy. But I have a responsibility to tell you that if a Meshai in Senator Gaya's village obstruct a policeman and he is incapable of paying that 1 million, is going to jail. And that means that the prisons, you have to build too many prisons because there will be so many of these instructions. What normally happens is that you say not less than and allow the magistrate to determine, okay. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there is nothing that cannot be reviewed. And when you have superior arguments, you can review your position. And I think that the best way we should go should be not less than. So that you leave, at least you give the judge a leverage, a discretion, be the right way to go. No, even if you say not less than 500 or not less than 300, but let's use that word. Let it not be not less than
500.
Do ground and look, and you try and incorporate the concept of not less than. I think that, so what my suggestion, if we agree, if somebody is that we can say not less than 500,000 and an imprisonment period for a term of 2 years or both. Huh? If we go along, then Deputy Leader, can you move amendment? Yeah. Or St. Thomas has moved to second it then. Second it. Second. Okay. Distinguished colleagues, it will now read that a person who assaults, obstructs, or resists a police officer in the execution of his duty, or incites any other person to assault, obstruct, or resist a police officer, or any other person aiding or assisting the police officer in the execution of his duty commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not less than 500,000 or imprisonment for a term of 2 years or both. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Okay, we now go to less than 500,000 or imprisonment of 2 years or both. Those in favor 102 as amended. Same thing. Yeah. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 103. Yes, Senator Jibril. 4. 105. 106. Part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 131, 132, 133 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 134 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that short title 135 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum on page 164 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. Chairman, very distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate reverse plenary for the charter.
Police Affairs on the Police Reform Bill 2019 and approve as follows. Clauses 1 to 6 as recommended, 7 as amended, 8 to 97 as recommended, 98 as amended, 99 as recommended, 100 as amended, 101 as recommended, 102 to 103 as amended, 104 to 134 as recommended. Schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in committee of the whole? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the Police Act, Cap P19, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and enact the Nigerian Police Act, 2019, to provide for the framework for the police service and ensure cooperation and partnership between the police and communities in maintaining peace and combating crime, and for related matters, 2019, third reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the Police Act Cap 19, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Police Act 2019 to provide for the framework for the police service and ensure cooperation and partnership between the police and communities in maintaining peace and combating crime, and for related matters 2019 is read a third time and passed. I want to thank particularly the police committee, the chairman and members. I want to thank all our colleagues for their contribution and the work in passing this. I thank the deputy leader and all those who have contributed for this very important bill. As we all notice, it's since 1943, nothing has been done in addressing the Police Act and the reform. And this is go a long way to show that we are a listening Parliament, listening Senate, and there's nothing better we can do in honor of those who have lost their lives along the way due to some of the facts that our laws at that time were not in line with what to ensure that our people are protected at all times. So I think this is a very great achievement for all of us, and I hope we continue to provide better security for our people, protect lives of citizens, and also ensure that the police officers will have better conditions and are more productive. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very